Have you ever received a letter from someone who died 6 months ago? Naomi Carter had. Tonight, that impossible message led her to a stranger's driveway in the rain, watching a 200-year-old oak crack at its base, falling straight toward her. She couldn't run. Hadn't run in 3 years. Not since the accident. The security footage would show what happened next. A German shepherd exploding through darkness, slamming into her chair, shoving it 3 feet left. The oak crashing down exactly where she'd been. A man in black catching her chair before it tipped. But in the moment, Naomi only felt hands, strong, careful, lifting her. "Can you hear me?" The man's voice cut through the storm. She nodded, rain streaming down her face. Up close, he looked nothing like she'd expected. No weapons, no gold chains, just sharp cheekbones, dark eyes, an unreadable expression. Ryu Seon-min, third-generation organized crime boss. The man her dead grandmother sent her to find. "Your dog just saved my life," Naomi managed. Luna, the German shepherd, sat panting, tail wagging like she'd simply fetched a ball. "She has good instincts." Seon-min carried Naomi toward his villa, his guard following with her wheelchair. "Why are you really here?" Naomi's vision blurred. She'd missed her medication. "I got a letter from my grandmother." "And?" "She's been dead for 6 months." Naomi's words slurred. "But 3 weeks ago, her handwriting appeared on my doorstep, telling me to come here, that you have answers about the accident that destroyed my legs." Seon-min's stride didn't falter, but something shifted in his expression. "What was your grandmother's name?" "Ruth Carter, Mama Ruth." He carried her inside. "Then we need to talk. Your grandmother knew things that could get us both killed." Inside, warmth hit Naomi's frozen skin like a wave. Seon-min set her on the leather couch, positioning her legs carefully. "Yoonji." He nodded toward his second-in-command, a lean man with silver-rimmed glasses. "Call Dr. Min. Urgent, not trauma." Before Naomi could protest, her right hand spasmed, fingers curling inward. The missed dose. Shame flooded through her. An envelope slipped from her jacket, landing face up on marble. Seon-min picked it up. His shoulders went rigid. "Where did you get this?" 2 weeks ago. Return address was my grandmother's house." Naomi steadied her voice. "But Mama Ruth died 6 months ago. Heart attack in her sleep. Or so they told me." The handwriting was unmistakable. Her grandmother's looping script, tiny circles over every I. Inside, "Come to this address. They have answers about your accident. Trust the dog. Mama Ruth." Trust the dog. Naomi looked at Luna, now positioned beside the couch, warm and solid. Seon-min read twice. "Your grandmother, connections to this neighborhood? Any business here?" She was a librarian who volunteered with community groups, fought developers displacing low-income families. Naomi studied his face. "Why?" He walked to the window, silent. When he spoke, his voice was controlled. 3 years ago, a car ran a red light at the Port District intersection. Hit and run. Driver disappeared. The car was registered to a shell company owned by my father's organization. The room tilted. "So your family destroyed my life," Naomi said slowly. "Someone in my father's organization arranged that accident. I've spent 3 years finding out who and why." His expression was unreadable. "Your grandmother discovered the connection before she died. She was building a case. I think that's what killed her." "You think they murdered her?" "I think she knew too much. She sent you here because she trusted me to finish what she started. Dr. Min arrived within 20 minutes. He examined Naomi efficiently, adjusted her dosage. You're running on empty. When did you last eat? Naomi couldn't remember. Seonmin returned with tea and rice porridge steaming in a stone bowl. He set the tray within her reach without comment. The porridge tasted like childhood, like Mama Ruth's kitchen. Why are you helping me? Naomi asked. If you're part of the same organization. I'm dismantling it, legally, transitioning everything to legitimate business. But there's an old faction, the Guardians. They want the underground operations active. They'll use anyone as leverage, including me. Especially you. His gaze held hers. Your evidence they couldn't destroy. Your accident, your grandmother's investigation, it connects to them. They thought eliminating Mama Ruth would end the threat, but she was smarter. Naomi set down her spoon. She made me the threat instead. She made you the truth teller. Seonmin leaned forward. Now you choose. I can have someone drive you anywhere, and you'll never hear from me again, or you stay. Help me finish this. Finally learn what really happened. Luna's head rested on Naomi's knee, heavy and warm. I want to know everything, Naomi said. If you're still with us, hit that subscribe button. This story is just beginning, and you won't want to miss what happens next. Morning light turned the villa's windows gold. Naomi woke in a bed she didn't remember reaching. Wheelchair positioned exactly where she'd need it. Someone had plugged in her phone, left water and medication within reach. Luna waited outside, tail wagging, leading her down the hallway. In the kitchen, Seonmin chopped vegetables with surgical precision. You're awake. Dr. Min wants to check your levels this afternoon. The breakfast spread was traditional. Soup, small dishes, meals that took time to prepare. Luna decided you were staying, Seonmin continued, sliding food into bowls. I've learned not to argue with her. Luna pressed against Naomi's chair, chin on the armrest. After they ate, Seonmin spread files across the table, photographs, documents, a flash drive. Everything about the accident, police reports, witness statements, traffic footage. The driver's identity was scrubbed within 48 hours. That takes resources. Naomi studied a photo of the intersection, skid marks, impact point. Her chest tightened. The car? Crushed and scrapped 3 days later. He pulled up another image. But someone took these first. Close-ups showing the vehicle ID, tracing to my father's company. Look at the damage pattern. This wasn't an accident. Whoever drove aimed for you. Temperature seemed to drop. Why? To send a message. Your grandmother documented suspicious activity, property sales, businesses opening and closing within months, residents vanishing. She was building a case. And when I got hit, Naomi said slowly, she made the connection. But didn't go to police. They were compromised. Seonmin tapped a document showing an officer on a payment roster. If she'd gone through official channels, they'd have known immediately, so she gathered evidence quietly. When she died, she made sure you'd find your way here. She died protecting me. She died so you could fight, Seonmin corrected quietly. Naomi reached into her bag, pulled out her portfolio. You said you wanted to understand me. Inside, sketches, architectural drawings, portraits in harsh shadow, one showing a woman in a wheelchair with wings instead of wheels, rising above a burning street. Seonmin studied each piece carefully. You draw what should be, not what is. Someone has to imagine it first. He walked to a cabinet, returned with a document. An illustration contract, high-end clients, gallery submissions, substantial pay. He set it before her. So you're not dependent on anyone. Naomi read carefully. The terms were generous, too generous. This feels like charity. It's strategy. His voice was matter of fact. The old faction looks for ways to control you. Financial pressure is their favorite tool. But if you have your own income, you make your own choices. And you get what? A partner who can't be bought. He met her eyes. I need people who choose to be here, not people who stay because they have nowhere else. It wasn't the answer Naomi expected, and exactly what she needed to hear. 1 week, she said. I'll stay 1 week, work with you on this. Then we decide next steps. 1 week, he agreed. As Naomi moved toward the hallway, his voice stopped her. The sketch with the wings, that's not fantasy. That's who you already are. She didn't respond, but something in her chest loosened. Later that afternoon, Luna dozed while Seonmin took a call. Naomi wheeled through the garden. The grounds were extensive, carefully maintained, paths accommodating her chair easily. At the main gate, she paused. A metal plaque displayed the property name. Below the text, a symbol. A crane in flight, wings spread, one talon extended. Naomi's blood froze. She'd seen that symbol before. In her accident file, stamped on a suspicious document. On a business card found in Mama Ruth's hospital room 2 weeks before she died. Luna, her voice came steady despite rising panic. Get Seonmin, now. The dog took off running. Seonmin appeared within minutes, Yoonjae close behind. Naomi thrust her phone toward them. This symbol, on your gate. It was also on documents related to my accident, and on a business card in my grandmother's things after she died. Seonmin's face went pale. Where's the card now? My apartment, in a box of her personal effects. He turned to Yoonjae. Send someone, discreetly, get that box. Sir, Yoonjae hesitated. If the old faction sees us accessing her property, they already know she's here. Go. Yoonjae left. Luna whined, pressing closer to Naomi. Tell me about the symbol. Naomi gripped her armrests. Don't lie, don't soften it. Seonmin crouched in front of her chair, eye level. That's the original emblem of my father's organization, before reform, before legal businesses, when it was still underground. He retired it 20 years ago. But some of the old faction, the Guardians, still use it as a mark of loyalty to the old ways. So the person who hit me, Naomi said slowly, was part of the inner circle, someone your father trusted. Yes, his jaw tightened, and someone who had access to your grandmother. The pieces assembled with horrifying clarity. They visited her in the hospital, threatened her maybe, or offered a deal, and she refused. Mama Ruth didn't make deals with criminals, which means her death might not have been natural. Seonmin finished the thought. Naomi's world tilted. The garden, the koi pond, the villa, everything blurred. You think they killed her? I think we need to find out. He reached out, hesitated, then gently covered her clenched fist with his hand. The touch was brief, but deliberate. I'm sorry, I know this isn't what you wanted. I wanted the truth. Naomi forced herself to breathe, even if it destroys everything. It doesn't destroy her, Seonmin said quietly. She fought for you until the end. Luna pushed her head under Naomi's other hand, demanding attention. If they killed her, Naomi said, voice hardening, Then I want names, faces, everything. Naomi, don't tell me it's too dangerous. Don't tell me to walk away. They took my legs. They took my grandmother. They don't get to take my right to know. Seonmin studied her, then nodded. All right, but we do this carefully. The guardians don't just use violence. They use manipulation, blackmail. They'll find your weak points. I don't have weak points anymore. They already took everything that could break me. That's not true. His voice dropped. You have people you care about, friends, your art, your future. And you. The words slipped out. They know I'm here, which means they'll use you against me too. Something flickered in his expression. Then we'll protect each other. It wasn't a romance, not yet, but it was a promise. Yoonjae returned an hour later with the box. Inside, Mama Ruth's journals, receipts, photographs, and the business card with the crane symbol. On the back, her grandmother's hand. Guardian Group, connection to Port Project. Investigate. Guardian Group, Seonmin repeated. The faction within my father's organization that opposed reform. When I took over and started transitioning to legitimate business, they resisted. How violently? Naomi asked. 3 attempts on my life the first year. He said it without inflection. After that, subtler methods, sabotaging deals, turning allies against me. And now they're using me. The realization settled like lead. They hurt me to hurt my grandmother and kept the connection visible so eventually I'd find my way here, to you. It's a trap, Yoonjae said bluntly. They want you to be a liability, force the boss to choose between you and survival. Naomi looked at Seonmin. So what happens now? Now, he said, we turn the trap around. Let them think their plan works. Meanwhile, we gather evidence, document everything. When we have enough, we take it to prosecutors who can hold them accountable. You mean the authorities? Naomi couldn't hide her skepticism. I mean the prosecutors I've worked with for 2 years, building a case against the guardians. They need proof. We're going to give it to them. That's motivational, Naomi said dryly, but these people killed my grandmother. Forgive me if I don't trust the system. Then don't trust the system. Seonmin's gaze held hers. Trust me. It was the most dangerous thing he could ask, and the most honest. One condition, Naomi said. You don't protect me by shutting me out. I'm part of this. I see everything, know everything. We're partners, or I walk. Seonmin extended his hand. Partners. Naomi shook it. His grip was firm, respectful, equal. Luna barked once, sealing the deal. The plan was simple. Act normal while quietly building their case. For 5 days, they maintained the illusion. Naomi worked on illustrations in the villa studio. Seonmin conducted legitimate business. Virtual meetings, contract reviews, property consultations. To any observer, they were simply 2 people sharing space. But at night, they worked in earnest. Yoonjae brought financial records showing payments to shell companies, shipping documents that didn't match customs declarations, testimony from former members who'd agreed to cooperate. Naomi cross-referenced everything with her grandmother's notes, years of documented suspicious activity. She was building a case, Naomi realized one night, papers spread across the dining table. She documented everything methodically. And when your accident happened, Seonmin added, she connected all the pieces. But why didn't she go to the police? Yoonjae tapped a document showing a police captain receiving regular payments. They had law enforcement compromised for decades. If she'd filed an official report, they would have known within hours. So she sent me to you instead. The strategy was brilliant. After her death, I wasn't a threat to them anymore, just a grieving granddaughter following a mysterious letter. By the time they realized what she'd done, the evidence would already be in your hands. On the 6th night, everything shifted. Naomi was in the studio. Seon-min had gone to meet his lawyer, Yoonji with him. Luna dozed nearby. Outside, security lights created pools of illumination in the darkness. Luna's growl was the first warning. The dog's hackles rose, positioning herself between Naomi and the glass doors. Naomi grabbed her phone, pulled up the security app. 3 figures approached from the rear gate, moving with professional coordination. She hit the emergency alert, then wheeled behind the heavy work table. The door unlocked electronically. Someone had overridden the system. Miss Carter. The lead man's voice was almost pleasant as he entered. Silver-haired, maybe 60, with a face that might have been handsome before years of hardness carved it into stone. "We're not here to hurt you, just to deliver information." Luna's growl deepened. Naomi kept one hand on the dog's collar. "The information is simple," he continued, pulling out a tablet. "Ryu Seon-min isn't saving you, he's using you. Read the date on this email. 2 weeks before your accident." The email appeared on screen, discussing creating circumstances that would force opposing elements to reveal themselves and mentioning calculated exposure to risk. "He knew," the man said gently. "He knew they were planning an operation in your neighborhood. And he let it happen because he needed evidence, someone sympathetic, someone whose tragedy could be weaponized for his reform agenda. You're manipulating this." But Naomi's hands trembled. "Am I?" He set the tablet within reach. "Have your own expert verify the metadata. Those communications are genuine. Seon-min sacrificed you and your grandmother to build his case against us." Luna lunged. The man stepped back smoothly. "We're leaving now, but think about what we've shown you. Ask yourself, if he truly cared, why didn't he warn anyone? Why didn't he stop it?" They vanished as quietly as they'd come. When Seon-min returned 20 minutes later, alerted by security, he found Naomi in the darkened studio, staring at the tablet. "Are you hurt?" He checked her over quickly. "Did you know?" The question came out flat. 2 weeks before my accident, the emails say you knew something was planned in my neighborhood. His face went carefully blank. "What are you talking about?" She showed him the tablet, watched him read, saw his expression darken with each line. "These are real," he said finally, "but you're seeing them without context." "Then give me context," her voice cracked. "Because it looks like you let them hurt me for evidence." Seon-min crouched in front of her chair. "I knew they were planning an intimidation operation, property damage, maybe threatening messages. Standard tactics to scare off community organizers. I reported it to prosecutors so they'd have documentation. But I didn't know." His voice roughened. "I swear I didn't know they'd escalate to violence, or that they'd target you specifically. But you should have warned people anyway." "Yes." No hesitation. "I should have. I thought I could control the situation, manage the risks. I was arrogant and wrong. You paid the price for my miscalculation." The raw honesty surprised her. She'd expected denials or justifications. "They want me to leave," Naomi said quietly. "To believe you manipulated everything." "You should leave." His voice was rough. "They're not entirely wrong. I did prioritize the mission over individual safety. I told myself it was for the greater good, but really it was just easier than making hard choices. Luna whined, pushing between them. When they came, Naomi said, Luna protected me without hesitation. She didn't calculate, she just chose. She's wiser than I am. No, she's simpler. Naomi reached out, touched his face. You're learning, that's harder. I don't deserve forgiveness. Maybe not, but I'm not leaving. She pulled her hand back. Not because I forgive you, because I choose to stay. For Mama Ruth, for everyone they've hurt. That's different from being used. He looked at her with something close to wonder. How can you be this strong? I'm not strong. I'm furious and terrified and heartbroken. She managed a shaky smile. But I'm done being a victim, so either we finish this together as equals or I do it alone. Your call. Together. He offered his hand. But from now on, full truth. No strategy, no calculated risks with your safety. Just honesty. That's the only way this works, Naomi agreed. They shook on it. Outside, the night was quiet, but something fundamental had changed. The trap meant to drive them apart had instead forced them to choose each other with clear eyes. And that was a power the old faction had never anticipated. For 2 days after the confrontation, Naomi worked alone. Not because Seon-min avoided her, he didn't. He was present at meals, offered help with logistics, kept Luna company when the dog refused to leave Naomi's side. But there was a new carefulness in his movements. A distance that felt like respect, but looked like retreat. Naomi told herself it was better this way, safer. They were partners in an investigation, not friends. Certainly not anything more. But her sketches told a different story. The illustration she was working on, commissioned by a children's publisher, her first real paying job in 8 months, should have been simple. A girl and her dog walking through a garden. But the lines kept shifting. The girl became a woman. The dog grew larger, more protective. And in the background, barely visible, a figure stood, watching from the shadows. She scrapped it 3 times, started again with forced cheerfulness, bright colors, simplified shapes, the kind of art that sold well but said nothing true. Her phone buzzed. A text from her former roommate, Jenna. Girl, where have you been? You disappeared. Should I be worried? Naomi stared at the message. How to explain? I'm staying with a mafia boss while we investigate my grandmother's murder. Also, his dog saved my life. Oh, and I might be falling for him, which is possibly the stupidest thing I've ever done. She typed, I'm safe, working on a project. Will explain later. Jenna's response was immediate. Is this about the accident? You found something? Maybe. Still figuring it out. Be careful. You're one of the strongest people I know. But even you have limits. Naomi set the phone down. Limits. Yes. She was approaching hers. That evening, she found Seon-min on the villa's back terrace. He sat at a stone table, papers spread before him, a forgotten cup of coffee going cold at his elbow. Luna dozed at his feet. Can we talk? Naomi wheeled herself to the opposite side of the table. He looked up, surprise flickering across his face. Of course. I think I need to leave. The words came out steadier than she felt. Not permanently, just for a few days. I need space to think clearly. Seon-min's expression didn't change. Where would you go? My apartment. It's small, not wheelchair-friendly, but it's mine. She'd been paying rent with her savings, unable to let go of the space, even when staying there became difficult. I need to remember who I was before all this, before you. I understand. He started gathering papers. I'll have Yoonjae arrange security. No. Naomi's voice was firm. No guards. No surveillance. I need to be alone. Naomi, they know where you live. If they come for you, then I'll call the police, like a normal person. She softened slightly. I'm not shutting you out. I need to figure out what I want. Not what the situation demands, but what I actually want. And you can't do that here. I can't do that with you watching me like I'm about to break. She met his gaze directly. You've been careful with me since the emails, like I'm made of glass, and I hate it. Seonmin was quiet for a long moment. I'm not treating you like glass. I'm treating you like someone I wronged. There's a difference. Is there? Naomi leaned forward. Because from where I'm sitting, it feels like you've decided I'm too fragile to handle the truth. That's the same thing my fiancé did before he left. The same thing my physical therapist does when she talks to me like I'm a child. The same thing everyone does. That's not. He stopped, started again. You're right, I have been careful, but not because I think you're fragile, because I'm terrified of hurting you again. The admission hung between them. You will hurt me again, Naomi said quietly, and I'll hurt you. That's what happens when people are real with each other. The question is whether we're brave enough to risk it anyway. And are you? His voice was barely above a whisper. Brave enough? I don't know yet. She smiled, but it was sad around the edges. That's why I need space, to figure out if what I'm feeling is real, or if it's just trauma bonding, gratitude for being saved, Stockholm Syndrome in reverse. It's not Stockholm Syndrome. The certainty in his voice surprised her. I've seen that. This isn't it. Then what is it? Seonmin stood, walked to the terrace railing. In the fading light, his profile looked carved from shadow. It's two people who recognize something in each other. Something broken that's trying to heal. Something scared that's trying to be brave. He turned back to her. But you're right. You should go. Not because I want you to, but because you need to choose this. Us. Whatever this becomes, it has to be your choice. The word landed like a key, turning in a lock. Choice. Not obligation, not gratitude, not trapped by circumstance. Choice. 3 days, Naomi said. I'll go home for 3 days, think things through, and then I'll decide. And if you decide not to come back, then you'll have to find another way to take down the old guard. She tried for lightness, but couldn't quite manage it. Though Luna might not forgive me. As if summoned, the dog padded over, resting her head on Naomi's knee. Her dark eyes seemed almost reproachful. She knows, Seonmin said softly. Dogs always know. That night, Yoonjae drove Naomi home, despite her protests. Boss's orders, he said simply. I'll drop you and leave, but I'm checking the apartment first. Her building looked smaller than she remembered. The elevator was broken again. She'd have to take the service entrance, navigate the ramp that always stuck halfway. Her apartment on the 2nd floor felt like a mountain. But she made it. Unlocked the door to a space that smelled like stale air and old paint. Her easel stood in the corner, covered with a sheet. Her walls held sketches she'd done before the accident, full of movement and joy and a version of herself she barely recognized. Yoonjae did a quick sweep, checked the windows, tested the locks. You have my number, he said. Anything feels wrong, you call. I don't care what time. After he left, the silence was overwhelming. Naomi wheeled through the small space, touching familiar objects. Her favorite mug, chipped on one side. The blanket Mama Ruth had crocheted, still draped over the couch. The sketchbook where she'd documented her recovery, or lack thereof, in brutal, honest lines. She opened it, flipped through pages of anger, grief, despair, rendered in charcoal and ink, and then, near the back, something different. A sketch of a dog, Luna, though she hadn't known the name yet. Drawn from memory, the day after the rescue. Why did I draw her? Naomi wondered. What was I trying to remember? The answer came slowly. Hope. She'd drawn Luna because the dog's intervention had felt like proof that the universe wasn't entirely hostile, that sometimes help arrived without being asked, that survival was possible, even likely. And then she'd met Seon-min, and everything had gotten complicated. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Still thinking about what we told you? The emails don't lie. He knew. A friend. Naomi deleted it without responding, but the message stayed with her. He knew. Did it matter that he'd known? He hadn't known the specifics, hadn't known she'd be the target. And he'd been honest when confronted. Had taken responsibility without making excuses. But is that enough? She didn't know. And that uncertainty felt like standing at the edge of a cliff in the dark, unsure if the ground was 3 feet down or 300. On the second day, Naomi sketched, not for commission, not for healing, just to see what her hands would create. The image emerged slowly. A man and a woman sitting on opposite sides of a table. Between them, a dog, bridge and barrier at once. Both figures were reaching across the empty space, fingers not quite touching. That's us, she realized, reaching but not quite connecting, wanting but not quite trusting. The question was, could they close that gap? And should they? Her phone rang, not a text this time, an actual call. Seon-min's name on the screen. Naomi answered. Hey. Hey. His voice sounded tired. I'm not calling to pressure you, I wanted you to know something. Okay. The prosecutors moved up the timeline. They're planning to raid the old guard's operations in 4 days. They have enough evidence now, enough to file charges, freeze assets, make arrests. He paused. Your grandmother's documentation was the final piece. You did that. You and her together. Tears burned Naomi's eyes. She'd have been proud. She'd have been proud of you regardless. His voice gentled. Naomi, you don't owe me anything. Not your time, not your forgiveness, certainly not your feelings. But I want you to know, whether you come back or not, I'm going to finish this. For her, for you, for everyone they've hurt. I know. She wiped her eyes. That's not what I'm doubting. Then what are you doubting? The question deserved honesty. Whether I'm strong enough to love someone who lives in your world. Whether I can handle the fear, the danger, the knowledge that there are people who want you dead. Her voice cracked. I lost my legs. I lost my grandmother. I can't lose anyone else. Then don't love me. The words were stark, painful. I mean that. Don't choose me out of obligation or because you think you should, or because Luna likes you. Only choose me if it's what you actually want, if the fear is worth it, if the risk makes sense to you. And if it doesn't, then we'll still be partners in this. We'll still take down the old guard, and when it's over, you'll walk away. He corrected himself. You'll leave, and I'll be grateful I got to know you at all. Naomi closed her eyes. You're making this harder. Good. A hint of dark humor. You should have hard choices. You deserve them. You deserve everything. After they hung up, Naomi sat in the dark apartment, Luna's sketch in her lap. And slowly, carefully, she added one more element to the image. The woman's fingers reaching 1 inch further, not quite touching the man's hand, but trying. On the morning of the 3rd day, Naomi packed her bag, called Yoonjae, said simply, "I'm ready." She didn't know what she was ready for exactly, but she knew where she needed to be. The raid was supposed to happen in 4 days. It happened in 4 hours. Naomi arrived at the villa just after dawn to find controlled chaos. Yoonjae on multiple phones, private security patrolling the perimeter, Seonmin in his office, surrounded by lawyers and prosecutors, his expression carved from stone. Luna found Naomi immediately, pressed against her chair, agitated. "What's happening?" Naomi caught Yoonjae's sleeve. "They're moving. The old faction found out about the raid timeline. They're destroying evidence right now. Burning files, wiping servers, eliminating witnesses. Prosecutors had to execute immediately or lose everything. And Seon-min. He's coordinating without interfering." Yoonjae's voice was tight. "But they've declared him a traitor. That carries consequences in their world." Naomi's stomach dropped. "What kind?" Yoonjae's silence answered. She wheeled to the office. Through the glass, Seonmin listened to a speakerphone, hands clenched. When he saw her, something softened in his face. He held up one finger. "Wait," and she nodded. The call ended. He emerged, closing the door. "You came back. We'll talk about that later. What's happening?" 3 senior members went underground before the raid. They're considered dangerous. He pulled out his phone, showed her a text. "You chose wrong. Now you lose everything." That's a direct threat. It's vague enough the police can't act. He pocketed the phone, which is exactly how they designed it. They're professionals at staying just inside legal lines. Naomi took his hand. "Then we'll deal with whatever comes." His fingers tightened. "I thought you needed time to decide." "I decided." She met his eyes. "When I imagine walking away, everything feels empty. When I imagine staying, it feels full. That's enough clarity for me." "Naomi, I know it's dangerous. I know I might get hurt again." Her voice didn't waver. "But I'm tired of living scared. I'd rather risk everything for something real than play it safe forever." He pulled her close, forehead against hers. "You're sure?" "Terrified, but sure." Luna pressed against both of them, a warm anchor. Then Yoonjae's voice shattered the moment. "Boss, the studio." Naomi's art studio was on fire. Not the whole villa, just the studio. Precise, targeted, a message about reaching inside his defenses. Firefighters contained it quickly, but everything inside was destroyed. Her portfolio. 8 months of work since the accident. The illustration of 2 people reaching across a table. All of it, ash. Naomi stared at the blackened doorframe, too shocked for tears. "I'll triple security," Seonmin said. "They won't get close again." "That's not the point." Her voice cracked. "You can't guard against everything. They just proved that." "We should move you to a safe house," Yoonji suggested. "No." Naomi straightened. "No more running. They burned my art. I'll make more, better. They want me scared? Too bad. I'm done with fear." Seonmin studied her face. "You're allowed to be afraid." I'm afraid, absolutely terrified, but I'm also furious. She laughed, brittle. And anger is better fuel than fear? His phone rang. He answered, listened, his expression shifting. When? All of them. And the evidence? We're on our way. He hung up. The raid succeeded. 19 arrests, 2 warehouses of documents seized, digital records going back 15 years. His voice gentled. Your grandmother's name is in the files. They found proof she was threatened. Her medication was deliberately contaminated. They caused her heart attack. The world tilted. Naomi gripped her armrests. So it was murder. Yes, and now we can prove it. What about the 3 who escaped? Still at large, but without organizational resources, they're vulnerable. It's only a matter of time. He paused. Unless they come here first. Then we'll be ready. She straightened. I won't run from them. That evening, as Naomi sketched, rebuilding what had burned, refusing to let fire erase her voice, a guard reported someone at the gate. Marcus Cade, her old classmate from art school. He's asking to see you, Yoonjae said. Claims you're in danger. Says he has information about the 3 missing members. Naomi's blood ran cold. Marcus had connected her to Mr. Doyle, the gallery owner with financial ties to the old faction. It had all been orchestrated. Don't let him in, she said. He claims they're planning an attack tonight. It's a trap, Seonmin appeared. Obviously. Or he's trying to make things right. Naomi met his eyes. Marcus was never brave. If they threatened him, he would have cooperated. But if he's here now, risking himself to warn us, maybe that means something. Or they sent him to breach our defenses. Let me talk to him through the gate, with guards present. She moved toward the door. If it's a trap, we'll see it. If it's real, we need the information. Seonmin caught her chair. If anything happens, then you'll make them regret it spectacularly. She tried for humor, failed. Please, trust me. He released the chair. 5 minutes at the gate, armed guards on both sides. Marcus looked terrible, hollow-eyed, shaking, barely holding himself together. When he saw Naomi, his face crumpled. I'm so sorry, he said immediately. The gallery, Mr. Wei. Doyle, all of it. They told me it was legitimate networking. By the time I understood, they had leverage. My sister, they threatened my family. What do you know? Naomi kept her voice neutral. They're coming tonight. The 3 who escaped. They have explosives, planning to destroy the villa's main structure, make it look like a gas leak. His words tumbled out. They wanted me to help disable security. I refused. Went to the prosecutors instead. I'm wearing a wire right now. They're recording everything. Why should we believe you? Seonmin's voice came from behind her. Because I'm done being a coward. Marcus looked at Naomi. You were always the brave one in class. You stood up for what was right. And I watched you lose everything, did nothing. I'm doing something now. Naomi studied his face. The terror was genuine. When are they coming? Midnight. They'll breach the back wall, plant charges in the basement, detonate remotely. Seonmin was already texting. Yoonjae, bomb disposal and tactical unit. Now. There's more. Marcus pulled a keycard from his pocket, slid it through the gate. Mr. Doyle has your grandmother's original journals, the ones with all her evidence. They're in his gallery office safe, but he's planning to destroy them tonight. Another diversion, Seonmin said. Split our forces. Then we don't split up. Naomi grabbed the keycard. Evacuate the villa, Set up a perimeter. While they're focused here, we go to the gallery. That's insane. It's strategic. Naomi's voice hardened. We let them blow up an empty building, and we recover the evidence that ends this forever. Property for justice. Seonmin looked at her for a long moment, then smiled. Sharp, dangerous, almost proud. All right, your way. Yoonjae, start evacuation. Marcus, you're coming with us. If this is a double cross, you'll regret it. Marcus nodded, pale but resolute. The next 3 hours were organized chaos, staff evacuated, tactical teams positioned. And Naomi, Seonmin, Yoonjae, and Marcus drove across the city to the gallery. Luna alert in the back seat. The gallery was dark. Marcus's keycard worked. They moved through rooms filled with art. Beautiful work that suddenly felt haunted by the corruption that had funded this place. Mr. Doyle's office, 3rd floor. The safe behind his desk was exactly where Marcus said. Seonmin examined the lock. This will take time. We don't have time. Naomi grabbed a fire extinguisher. Move. She swung it with all her strength, leveraging her body weight. The safe door dented. She swung again. On the 4th impact, the lock broke. Inside, 3 leather journals, covers worn soft. Mama Ruth's handwriting filled every page. Dates, names, transactions, photographs. A complete accounting of crimes over 5 years. Naomi's hands shook as she lifted them. She did it. She documented everything. Seonmin photographed each page, uploading to secure servers. Even if they destroy the originals now, we have copies. Yoonjae's phone buzzed. He listened, face grim. They're at the villa, 3 armed suspects. Tactical is moving in. They listened in tense silence, shouted commands, a brief confrontation. Then, all suspects in custody, no casualties, villa is secure. Naomi exhaled. It's over. It's actually over, Seonmin echoed. As they emerged from the gallery, Mr. Doyle stood on the sidewalk, silver-haired, cold-eyed, not threatening, just watching. You think you've won, he said quietly, but there will always be more people willing to do what's necessary, more shadows. Maybe. Seonmin stopped in front of him, but there will also be more people willing to fight them, more evidence, more light. Eventually, the shadows lose. Mr. Doyle smiled without warmth. We'll see. Police arrived, took him into custody. Marcus gave his statement, shaking but clear. As dawn broke, Naomi and Seonmin sat in the car, Luna between them, holding journals that smelled like old paper, and Mama Ruth's lavender perfume. She never gave up, Naomi whispered, even when it cost everything. Neither did you. Seonmin's hand found hers. You're her legacy. Naomi leaned against his shoulder, exhausted and aching and impossibly hopeful. What happens now? Now we go home, rest, heal. He kissed her temple, gentle, reverent. And then we start building something new. 3 months later, the villa terrace looked entirely different in afternoon light. The studio had been rebuilt, larger, with skylights flooding the space with natural light. Naomi's artwork covered one wall, a series titled Resilience, showing women in wheelchairs as warriors, healers, artists, lovers. Not victims, never victims. The exhibition would open next month at a gallery run by a woman who'd lost her own legs in combat and understood that mobility devices were tools, not tragedies. Luna sprawled in sunlight, content. Her heroism had made news. Hero Dog helped solve criminal organization. And she'd been offered ridiculous modeling contracts, all declined. She's retired, Seonmin had told reporters flatly. She's earned peace. Naomi wheeled onto the terrace, carrying 2 cups of tea. Seonmin sat reviewing contracts. Legitimate business now. Real estate development focused on affordable housing, partnerships with organizations supporting trafficking survivors, investments in community projects. He looked up, smile softening his features. Done for the day? For now. She set his tea down. I wanted to show you something. The sketch showed 2 figures, unmistakably them, standing side by side, equal. Behind them, a city rose in clean lines. In the foreground, a dog sat watching, protective and proud. It's us, Seonmin said softly. The way we are now. It took time, but we got here. The trials had been exhausting. 19 convictions on charges from organized crime to murder. Marcus received immunity for testimony. Mr. Doyle awaited sentencing. Seonmin had walked away clean. His cooperation, his reform efforts, his willingness to testify had all protected him. More than legal protection, though, he'd gained something unexpected. Redemption. I got a call today, Naomi said. The publisher wants a children's book about a girl in a wheelchair and her dog. How they save each other. That's inspirational work, his eyes crinkled. Will you do it? I said yes, on one condition. She pulled out another sketch, a man walking from shadow into light, while a woman in a wheelchair held open a door. I want to do a second book for older readers, about second chances, about broken people finding ways to be whole. A romance, he said quietly. A romance, if you're okay with our story being told. As long as you tell it honestly. He reached across the table. No sanitizing, no pretending it was easy. Always honest. She laced her fingers through his. That's our deal. The commitment had been formalized 2 weeks ago. Not marriage, neither was ready for that. But a ceremony of their own design, witnessed by Yoonjae, Dr. Min, Marcus, and others who'd become family. They'd exchanged promises, honesty, partnership, respect. No more secrets, no more calculated risks with each other's hearts. There's one more thing. Seonmin pulled an envelope from his jacket. Inside, a deed to a building in the Arts District, the old community center where Mama Ruth had volunteered, now renovated into studio spaces. The ground floor is fully accessible, he explained. Teaching spaces, exhibition areas, room for permanent collection. I thought maybe you could run it. Director, curator, whatever title feels right. Naomi stared at the document. This is a beginning. His voice was firm. Your grandmother fought for this neighborhood. Now you can build something here that lasts, something carrying her name and values. The Ruth Carter Community Arts Center. She tested the words. She'd have loved that. I know, and she'd be proud of you for surviving, for fighting, for choosing to build instead of burn. They sat quietly, watching Luna sleep, feeling afternoon warmth. Do you regret it? Naomi asked, walking away from the organization, choosing this life. Every day. His honesty was stark. And never. It's both. I miss the simplicity of power sometimes, the clarity. But then I look at what I have, you, Luna, a life without constant vigilance, and I know I chose right. Even though it's harder, especially because it's harder. He smiled. Easy choices don't change you. Luna stirred, patting over to rest her head on Naomi's knee. The dog's eyes were warm, knowing. She'd been with them through every moment, the rescue, the investigation, the danger, the resolution. I love you. The words came easily now, no longer frightening. I know it's complicated and messy, but I love you too. Seon-min interrupted, moving to kneel beside her chair, positioning himself at eye level as he'd done from the beginning. And the love part isn't complicated. The love part is simple. We just happen to have complex lives around it. He kissed her, soft, unhurried, tasting of tea and promises. Luna barked once, approving. She has definite opinions about our relationship. Naomi laughed, scratching the dog's ears. She's wise. Seon-min stood, offered his hand. Walk with me. Wheel with you, she corrected with a grin. They moved through the rebuilt garden, new flowers, paths wide enough for her chair. Seon-min walked beside her, hand resting lightly on her shoulder, a touch that said, I'm here without suggesting she needed support. At the garden's edge, a bench overlooked the city, a spot for watching the world without being consumed by its chaos. I have something too. Naomi pulled out a small wrapped package, inside a custom illustration, not for sale, just for him. It showed a piano in an empty room, light streaming through windows, music notes floating in air. In the corner, barely visible, a figure walking away from shadow. You're free now, Naomi said softly. Whatever your father built, whatever the organization was, you're not that anymore. This is who you are, someone who makes beautiful things in light. Seon-min's eyes gleamed. He held the image carefully. No one's ever seen me this way. Then they weren't looking hard enough. She pulled him down to sit beside her chair. I see you, the real you, and I'm not going anywhere. Even though it's dangerous, his voice roughened. Even though there will always be people from my past wanting revenge. Even though. She cupped his face. I've already lost things. I've already been hurt. Safety is an illusion. The only real choice is whether to live afraid or live brave. I choose brave. So do I. He leaned his forehead against hers. Every day, with you. Luna jumped onto the bench between them, disrupting the moment with cheerful canine energy. They laughed, making room, sitting together as afternoon became evening. Three souls who'd found each other through chaos and chosen to stay through peace. What happens next? Naomi asked, watching the sun paint the sky gold. I don't know. Seon-min's arm wrapped around her shoulders. But whatever it is, we face it together. That's my only plan. It's a good plan. She leaned into him, feeling his steady breathing, his warmth. Simple, direct, motivational even. Motivational? He laughed. Since when are you into motivation? Since I met a man who walked away from organized crime to build something better. And a dog who taught me salvation sometimes comes with 4 legs and perfect timing. She smiled up at him. That's pretty motivational. They stayed as stars emerged, talking about the future, the community center, the books, the life they were building from wreckage. Luna dozed between them, a warm weight of contentment. Later, when they returned inside, Naomi paused at the threshold. Do you remember the first night, when Luna found me in the rain? I remember. His voice was soft. You said someone who was already dead sent you. Mama Ruth did send me. She looked at the house that had become home, but not just for justice, for this, for you, for us, for a future she knew I deserved, even when I couldn't believe in it. She was wise and right. He held the door, waiting for her to enter first, always respecting her autonomy. You deserve everything, and I plan to spend my life making sure you know it. Inside, the piano waited. Seonmin had played more in 3 months than in 3 years, music pouring out like something unlocked. Tonight he sat at the keys, began a new melody, soft at first, then building. Naomi wheeled close, sketching as he played. Lines flowed easily now, no longer fighting her hand. She drew what she saw, a man making beauty, a dog keeping watch, a woman who'd survived and chosen to thrive. And between them all, invisible but real, the thread of connection that couldn't be severed by violence or fear or the past's weight. This was love. Not perfect, not simple, but real, built on choice and respect and the daily decision to be vulnerable with someone who'd earned that trust. This was home, not a place but a feeling, safety earned through honesty, comfort found in shared silence, joy discovered in small moments. This was family, not blood but choice, a man, a woman, a dog, and the future they were creating, one careful, brave, hopeful step at a time. When the music ended, Seonmin turned to find Naomi watching, sketch finished, smile soft. "What?" "Nothing, everything." She wheeled closer, took his hand. "Just thank you for seeing me, for staying, for being exactly who you are." "Right back at you." He kissed her knuckles, courtly, perfect. "Partners." "Partners," she agreed, "in everything." Luna barked softly. They both laughed. "Yes," Seonmin told the dog. "You're a partner too." The original one, actually. Outside, night was quiet. No threats, no danger, just peace. And inside, 3 souls who'd found each other through darkness chose to stay together in light. Not because it was easy, but because it was real. And that was enough. More than enough. It was everything. If this story touched your heart, if you believe in second chances and love that chooses bravely, share it. Subscribe for more stories like this, stories that honor resilience, celebrate healing, and remind us that even in our most broken moments, we're still worthy of being chosen. Thank you for spending this time with us. Until the next story, take care of your heart.